So I think this is true for almost every design process. Um, so I'm a big fan of Double Diamond, 5DI, and the kind of generic kind of Pitchler product design processes. I think all of those combined are largely what, and come some of our own thoughts as well, make up the experience design logbook. But even if we gave that to somebody without kind of any instruction, which is why we put a lot of instruction in there, you're ultimately interpreting what the process should be. So 5DI is the obvious one that people talk about in learning. But again, there is only kind of summary information or almost textbook, as in if everything works perfectly, this is what should happen in your process. But this is real life. So not everything runs perfectly. Some things don't run to time. And some people just say, no, I'm not doing that. So it's how do you balance that? So what we try and explain to people is that sometimes it's not necessarily the process that's wrong. It's the way you interpret it or the way you approach it and how you adapt when that change either not happening or it's happening and it's not what you want to happen. So to get the results you need, sometimes it is a case of not looking at outside, say, this person didn't give me their time, this audience didn't respond to our request for feedback. It's also maybe looking at yourself and saying, where did we go wrong in the process? Where did we spend either too much time, not enough time? And I think for me, ultimately, the one thing I see the most happening is the early stage parts of the process. So when you talk about requests coming in, when you talk about the data that people need to get, people skip over these sections quite quickly. Those are basically setting your path. And if you get those wrong, it doesn't matter how well you do the next bits. You are creating something for a completely different problem for a completely different audience. So yeah, the early stages are where people should probably spend more time. They're kind of overlooked. But those are the bits that if you get those right, everything else should start to fall into place.